3 months ago, on March 25th, 2017, I made a video talking about why future Trunks should have remained within the present timeline and staying for the Tournament of Power, as I felt during the time that Trunks would have not only provided the necessary firepower in helping Universe number 7, but also paying his debts with the likes of Lord Beerus for mingling with time itself and breaking the laws forbidden by even the gods. And on today's video, we're going to be diving into why future Trunks should have remained and competed within the Tournament of Power, and joining me to tackle this monster is Dragon Ball YouTuber EmoshIsLivE, as we're going to be sharing our thoughts and opinions as to why Trunks should have stayed, alongside the benefits as to what he could have brought to our team. So we encourage you all to watch through the entire video and hearing out our points and later sharing what you guys think down in the comment section below. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, that way you guys are always up to date and in tune with all latest Dragon Ball news, discussions, updates, and more. Hashtag notification squad. So Emosh, I wanted to get your thoughts on future Trunks and having to get your opinion on whether or not you think Trunks should have actually remained within the present timeline, or indeed having the ending be fit for him to leave, because in my personal opinion, seeing as how future Trunks would have been interacting with not only the androids number 17 and 18, but also seeing Trunks on the same team as the very man he destroyed once before, that being Frieza, would have been such an interesting scenario in seeing how he would be able to function with both the androids and Frieza on the same team. And I also think that Trunks would have actually been great to be on the team, given the fact that he has broken the laws of time travel before. So I think that to owe it up to Beerus and Whis for having to help him in his journey on trying to defeat Goku Black and Zamasu, it would have been a great addition to see Trunks pay his debts in trying to do Beerus the favor, in trying to do Goku and Vegeta the favor, in helping them out, because so far this is the second time we see Trunks having to go back into the past seeking for help. The first time having to be with the androids and having to warn them about the biological threat, and of course the second time having to be with Goku Black. So it's just ironic to me that Trunks is always the one asking for help, and it would have been great this time around to see Goku, Vegeta, and even Beerus having to request the aid of Trunks in competing in this Tournament of Power. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, do you think this would have made sense in throwing Trunks on the Universe 7 team and having him compete within the Tournament of Power?
Okay, it makes sense because the end result of his story that they gave him sucked ass. Like the whole concept of him residing in a timeline where there's going to be two Trunkses now and there's going to be two Mai's. To me, that was just like they just couldn't think of an ending for him, so they just dumped him over there, right? So with that being said, yes, it would make sense for him to have stayed, maybe give him a better ending, maybe he could have helped him in the Tournament of Power, then they could have sent him back if anything. And then now that you mention it, instead of potentially, let's say, Cedro or the gods trying to assassinate Frieza, maybe they could have tried to assassinate Trunks and Goku at this point in time for
breaking time.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been another possible scenario as far as like the storyline goes. So it would have given Trunks a good story. And yeah, I kind of agree with you to an extent. Like a part of me feels like it's okay that Trunks is gone. I'm still, but now that you bring it up, I'm not okay with how they ended his story. Granted that Trunks is he's a very popular character. I don't want to say he's like the greatest character. Definitely. But he's very popular. So with that being said, I feel like he deserved a better ending overall. I would have liked to see him interact with Gohan more. Maybe him and Gohan could have trained together for this tournament. That would have been great to see as well. Him, Gohan, and Piccolo or something like that. You know, that would have been awesome to see. Maybe Vegeta and Trunks could have trained, etc. There's so many possibilities that could have went down had Trunks stayed just a little longer. You know what I'm saying? But I'm actually surprised that they actually didn't request to actually go grab him, I guess. But had that been the case, maybe it would have ended up, you know, creating a different parallel world yet again if he would have came back to the past again to help them fix yet another problem. So that would have been interesting. But I agree with you. I'd say it would have been better off if Trunks would have stayed for a little while longer. Let us enjoy the concept of Super Saiyan Rage and just Trunks in general.
I also think that Super Saiyan Rage wasn't quite utilized in seeing what the form is, getting an overall general understanding of how it's achieved, and having to see, as you just pointed out, Gohan and Trunks being on the same team. It's almost as if you're looking at a student and a teacher having to coexist at the same place at the same time, and we haven't seen that since Trunks was a teenager. teenager, yeah, when Gohan and them battled the androids.
Right.
So I also wanted to ask you, having that be said, do you think that Universe number 7 would have been a little too overpowered by having him on the team? Because thus far, depending on when you guys are watching this video, the Tournament of Power just started. So as of right now, we do have an understanding that one of the, if not the strongest person in this tournament is in fact Jiren. And, you know, having to scale him right now, having just to look at him, he feels as if like, he's the type of character to emit a tremendous amount of power that can even best up Super Saiyan Blue. So I wanted to ask you, do you think Team Universe number 7 would have been way too OP'd in having the likes of 2 Super Saiyan Blues, Ultimate Gohan, True Golden Frieza, 17 Piccolo, and the others? Or do you think it would have been best suited in having Trunks on the team, given the fact that number 1, Frieza has an agenda, so you have to keep your eyes out for him, and number 2, having to, you know, try to team up together and having to take down Jiren, since he will be possibly one of the strongest people in this entire tournament?
Well, 2 scenarios. Let's say Frieza wasn't on the team and Trunks was, right? With Frieza on the team, it gives them more power, but less, you know, unison, like less unity, right? Less synchronization, right, stuff like that. And if Frieza, without Frieza on the team, with Trunks on the team, it gives them power, not as much as with True Golden Frieza at this point in time, because I believe he's stronger than what Super Saiyan Race Trunks was in the Goku Black arc at this point.
Right.
So in terms of strength, right? So then it wouldn't have given Universe 7 that much strength, but it would have given them a fair balance of both power and, guess what, synchronization. Trunks would have more, you know, been more than willing to want to work with the likes of Goku, his father, right? We've seen his father actually wanted to help Trunks as well, which is something we haven't seen. I don't remember seeing that at all after when Cell, you know,
not in Dragon Ball Z, absolutely not.
Right, no. Exactly. So that would have been nice to see. I think it would have just brought everybody together, but with Frieza being here is what's causing the whole issue between Universe 7. I feel like without Frieza, Vegeta wouldn't really mind to an extent working with everybody, but at this point in time, he's like, no, I don't even want to hold hands with this person. I don't even want to lie and act like he's a good guy now. We saw all these scenes where it just bothered Vegeta. It made him cringe. You know what I'm saying? Who would have thought of the day where Vegeta is actually having to stick up for Frieza? So with that being said, I mean, granted that Frieza doesn't even give a shit about the universe, I would say no, it would have balanced out Universe 7. It wouldn't have made them as OP as they are now in terms of strength, but they would have had a pretty solid team. But
even with Frieza on the team, that would have made things so much more complex, and seeing Frieza having to react to Goku, who killed him in ROF, and Trunks, Vegeta's son, who also killed him when he came to Earth. And that would have created a scenario to where Trunks is even saying to himself, why are we working with the likes of Frieza? And Frieza having to not only have a plan for Goku and Vegeta, but also Trunks, and furthering the story that much more. Because I feel as if right now, Trunks and Goku, well, actually Vegeta and Goku, they aren't really gonna have their eye out for Frieza. I think that in this tournament, they're gonna have their eyes set on the strongest fighters. So I think that they're gonna be a little oblivious as to what Frieza is gonna be doing behind the shadows. However, I think if Trunks was here, he would have been the guy to keep an eye out for Frieza that much more, just because he knows what Frieza can do. And even after seeing Frieza in his golden form and whatnot, Trunks would have came to the realization like, okay, even though we need him, he still can't be trusted. So what I wanted to ask you is, do you think it would have made sense to have Trunks a part of this to begin with? Because having to have his timeline be erased, I think that would have been the grand scenario, and saying, listen, it's not just our universe that's in danger, your potential timeline may also crumble, given the idea that, you know, it's within the same realm, I guess, like same universe, but like different time or whatever. So, you know, if the entire universe gets obliterated, that also attributes to your time as well, because I can't see Universe 7 getting destroyed and Trunks' timeline having to exist for some reason. So I feel as if, you know, having Trunks pay his debts and saying, listen, I broke the laws of time, I did a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to do, and helping Goku and, you know, saving him from the heart virus, and having to drag you people into my time and having to suffer, you know, defeat by the hands of Black and Zamasu, and then merge Zamasu, and then having to almost be killed by the Omni King, it would have been a great addition. So my question to you is, do you think that at some given point this would have created a situation to where Trunks gets to finally, you know, see what it's like to fend off against some of the strongest in the entire multiverse? Because this is a scenario to where you're gonna have endless possibilities. For example, Trunks versus Khalifa, Trunks versus Kaba, Trunks versus Kale, Trunks versus Hit, Trunks versus Jiren, Trunks versus Topo, and having to scale Super Saiyan Rage. And I think that ultimately enough, that would have put Super Saiyan Rage up to the ultimate test in seeing how Trunks functions in the form without the sword. because with the sword being intact, we saw how he was able to, you know, he's a great, you know, wielder when it comes to the weapon, but now the weapons aren't allowed. It's like, how well can he handle himself? So how would you see that scenario go down if Super Saiyan Rage were introduced in the tournament? Do you think he would be way too OP'd, or do you think that it would be a good fight for people like Hit or people like Jiren or Toppo?
No, I was gonna say I think Super Saiyan Rage Trunks versus Kale would be great to see. Granted that, you know, the concept of Broly originated from Trunks to an extent. That would have been fun to see. I think, no, I don't even think Trunks needs his sword in a turn like this. He's going to do what he has to. Like I said, he's going to do what he has to do. He's going to provide a solid balance to the team. Is he going to win the tournament? No, but he gives the team an overall better chance of winning, and it makes Gohan's job a little easier. Because at this point in time, I feel like Piccolo is Gohan's right-hand man with this, with the whole concept of trying to get people to come together and play as a team.
Right.
As they mentioned in the episode, you know. So I think Trunks would have balanced it out a lot better. The question is, who would be replaced for Trunks? So granted that you still want to put Frieza in, you know, on the team for this scenario, right? So I would have switched out Tien, because I'm just completely disappointed with him. So I would have Trunks on the team. Yeah, I would get rid of Tien, keep Roshi, because I feel he provides a good, you know, he's reliable. I think he's reliable to an extent. Have Trunks come in. So no, I don't think Trunks would even need the sword to an extent. I think he's just of a great of a fighter. He just happens to use that as a method because, well, for whatever reason. But him as a fighter, he's more than capable. He has the power, he has the agility, he has the speed, he has the knowledge to fight, he has the guts to do that. You know, he doesn't really, after obtaining Super Saiyan Rage, he never really backed down from anybody after that. He took on Goku, Black, and Zamasu by himself. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. That's a big deal. So I think, to answer your question, it would have given Trunks the ideal ending, right? The most deserved ending, in allowing him to pay his debts, to, you know, clean the slate, start over, start fresh, and pay his debt over, and then go back into whatever timeline, you know, do whatever they want to do with him.
Right.
And that's it after that. You know what I'm saying? So who's to say they couldn't even rebuild this timeline to an extent, right? And then maybe create it to where, you know, the Super Dragon Balls existed. He could have used that to restore balance, and then he could have just stayed there, and then they could have made a ban or put a ban like we previously thought months ago. During that arc, we talked about, well, I feel like Beerus or somebody might end up putting a ban on time travel, or closing the dimensions to an extent, to prevent them from time traveling again,
right,
to keep Trunks where he's supposed to be, yada yada yada. But, you know, we could take that concept and bring it back here, and then still give Trunks the ideal ending. So that would have been nice to see.
And
but
I think having to execute that, I think that would have been, as you said, the ideal ending, because he would have been able to, I mean, first of all, having to imagine his world being erased again, it's like the thought process of like, damn, I mean, now we're gonna have to fight not just 1 or 2 enemies as we did in the future, but now it's, you know, 70 others in which we're gonna have to work with. So I think having Trunks work with Gohan, I think Trunks and Piccolo, and probably with the extent of like Krillin and whatever, they would have been like the only ones to listen to Gohan's plan, as opposed to, you know, Vegeta, Goku, and Frieza. And I think that given the scenario, it would have been the first time to see Rage Trunks defend Vegeta from like an onslaught of fighters. Like, for example, if Vegeta is fighting, you know, 1 versus 12, Trunks can jump in there and he can actually provide help for his father in fighting off like these barrage of fighters and whatnot. And plus, you know, if you want to make Jiren, to an extent, seem like a very dominant figure, it would have been awesome to see at some point, because I don't think Trunks should have won, or should win. I think that to display Jiren's raw power in how powerful he is and how much of a threat he is, in having Gohan, you know, Vegeta, Trunks, you know, all gang up on Jiren, and having Jiren, you know, perhaps maybe eliminate Trunks and throwing him out. Like, that would have been very awesome to see Gohan's plan be put into action. Like, okay, take down the big tough guy before he takes us down. And I think for me, they could have maximized and utilized Trunks that much more. I think that it is an open ending for him. I think that with his departure, there is potential in him having to come back one day, and with us having to learn that indeed Black and Zamasu will exist in that timeline. Whis even pointed out, well, if that time comes, I'll make sure that that the problem is resolved. So we don't know how that's going to go down. But in Dragon Ball Super, based on the ending, you know, he did say farewell until we meet again one day. So, you know, for me, that would have been that would have been like a very suitable ending. You know, instead of them leaving right away, he stood by, you know, just to feel out what it's like to have peace, because, you know, he never understood what peace was, even while he was here and he observed, you know, Gohan with his family eating ice cream, and then him having to talk to himself, you know, little Trunks and future Trunks having to interact. You know, he never understood what that was. So I think that by having him involved involved in that kind of a scenario would have been great, not just for, you know, furthering his character, but I think also, you know, sealing the Trunks story away finally, and having him finally leave after this is all said and done, and having him say, well, you know, this is it, thank you so much for helping me, I'm humbled by helping you. Because how come Trunks is only the one to go back in time and seek out help, but then, you know, the one time where the people, like, you know, this universe requires help, you know, he's nowhere to be found. So in conclusion, where would you put, you know, Trunks in terms of placement if he was on Team Universe number 7, in terms of ranking and how well he can do and his benefits onto the team?
With Frieza on the team?
With Frieza on the team.
Okay, so I would have Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, right? True Golden Frieza, right? So we have Goku, Vegeta, Frieza. Then after that, I would probably have Gohan, Trunks.
Wow, 7. Gohan above Trunks.
Well, yeah, because I would say, I would say they're, okay, I would say maybe they're equal. Maybe Gohan might edge out a little more. I just don't believe in Super Saiyan Rage Trunks being able to keep up with what Goku is now, as to where Gohan kind of did to an extent, right? And I know people are going to be like, no, he didn't. What are you talking about in the comment section? Like, listen, take it easy. Watch the episode. I even did a video talking about this, okay? And I like Gohan, but I'm never going to give him... I've been beating him up for months, and Alex will tell you guys that. I've been beating up Gohan for a long time until finally we got what we needed from him. And so now that we did, I would say that Goku is significantly better than what he was versus Zamasu in Black. And because Gohan was able to compete with him to an extent, right? As to where Trunks was not, even back then when Goku was weaker, right? Months have passed already. So, no, I would put Trunks, Super Saiyan Race Trunks, under Gohan. At this point, so I'll put him under Gohan. So it would be Goku, Vegeta, True Golden Frieza. I would have Gohan, then Trunks, then 17, then Piccolo, then Krillin, or 18, or Krillin 18, and then Roshi. That would be my 10. That would be in terms of placement, I would say.
I think for me, just having to see Trunks a part of this, it would have been best suited because, first of all, imagine him, Trunks, the one who saw Gohan die, who's on the same team, you know, work with 18, work with 17, because he met 18, but him and 17 always had like a rough time with each other in terms of words, and then Frieza as well. I mean, there are 2 future Trunkses now, so technically speaking, you know, they could do so much more. They could do so much more with the concept of, you know, 2 Trunkses, but I felt as if he was in the Tournament of Power, you know, I think that he would have provided necessary support in the idea that, yeah, they would have been great together, don't get me wrong. But I also think that having to compare them as to what we saw from Dragon Ball Super Episode 96, the minute Universe 11 arrived, Goku and Vegeta and Kaba turned around and they were stunned as to what is this energy, like what are we feeling right now, and they felt the power of these mighty warriors. So I think with the exception now, we do have Frieza, Vegeta, Goku, and Gohan, and aside from that, 17 as well. I'm not going to downplay 17, however, I think Trunks would have been a great addition to this, but just, for me at least, I think that he would have paid his depth well.
The thing with Trunks, like I said earlier, he would have created he would be like the centerpiece for the team to an extent, right? Because we don't have that. So we have Frieza, who's acting like a douche. We have Vegeta, even though he's fully aware. And we just got through like 4, 5, 6 episodes of him preaching about his family, preaching about how he has to be there for his daughter, preaching how he has to be there for Bulma, only to come in now and say, my pride comes first. You know what I'm saying? So this is an issue. So Trunks being there would have gave Vegeta the reason to say, let's work together. Trunks would have, you know, urged them on to say, let's work together. Goku could still do his own thing. It helps Gohan out. It helps Piccolo out. It helps Krillin out. It gives these people, despite Frieza being on the team, it gives them a peace of mind to know that Trunks is there. Will Trunks play the leader role? Of course not. But knowing that he's there kind of gives you help when, as opposed to where Trunks is not here now and Gohan's all by his lonesome and he has to rely on Piccolo to help people, you know, understand the concept of teamwork. You know what I'm saying? So it would have been nice to see that, and thinking back to the whole concept of future Gohan and Trunks, that would have been amazing to see. But I guess they weren't thinking about that at the time, so it's unfortunate. But you know, it is what it is.
I think having to see Beerus finally, you know, request the aid of Trunks because it's needed, it would have been a suitable scenario to see, like, hey boy, you're breaking the laws of time, so we need you to break the laws of time just for this moment. And you helping us, since you came to us for help, now it's time for you to give us, you know, some sort of respect back into helping our situation out. But we would like to hear your thoughts down below. Do you guys think that Trunks would have been a great addition onto the team in having him work with Frieza, the androids, Gohan, his father, Goku, or do you think it's best kept that Trunks stays away and remains in his timeline? Thank you guys for watching. As always, we hope you guys truly enjoyed. If you guys did, make sure to go ahead and slap a like on this video for more awesome news and videos. If you guys are new, don't forget to subscribe for more news, information, and updates. Don't forget to also subscribe to EmoshIsLivE. I will link his channel down below, guys. Thank you all for watching once again, and we'll be seeing you all in the next discussion. Have a great night, guys. Peace.